Welcome to a new series from MMAC, Take 10. Through Take 10, we'll get to know business and community leaders who are playing a significant role in building the future of Milwaukee, our region, and the state of Wisconsin. We'll dig into their big picture perspective on the opportunities and threats we face as a region, and we'll get to know a little bit about them personally. I'm Chris Jenkins, MMAC's Director of Communications, and our guest today is Adam Tindall-Schlicht, Director of Port Milwaukee. Adam, welcome.
Thanks for having me, Chris.
Absolutely. Thanks for being here. So to start off, tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about the port.
Great. My name is Adam Tindall-Schlicht. I am the Director of Port Milwaukee. I've been in this position for 2.5 years, going on almost 3 years now. And for those that we haven't worked with in the past, Port Milwaukee is our region's foremost provider of multimodal transportation solutions. A port authority, including Milwaukee's own, is a place where all modes of transportation come together. That's trucking, that's rail, and certainly the domestic and international shipping that we have throughout the year. On average, the port handles about 2.5 million tons of cargo. And I'm very happy to say that in 2020, we had our best year commercially in over 7 years. We handled 2.8 million tons of cargo, both from an import and export perspective. Not only is that our best year in almost a decade, but it represents a 5% increase from 2019. We've had 2 years of back-to-back increased commercial utilization at the port. Another fun fact is, and most folks wouldn't necessarily know this, the port is obviously a landowner. Our property holdings are about 470 acres of lakefront property that go from Bayview to the steps of the Art Museum. So many of the cultural institutions that are very familiar in Milwaukee, like the festival grounds for Summerfest, Discovery World, and Harbor House Restaurant, are all on port property. The other growth opportunity that we've been working on in recent years is certainly the significant increase in cruise activity at the port. And despite the pandemic, we look forward to our cruise activity returning post-COVID-19 with new entrants to the system like Viking Cruises, and with our recently announced 20-year agreement with Pearl Seas Cruise Line. So a lot of recreational and commercial activity taking place at the port.
Yeah, those Great Lakes cruises look amazing. I mean, can you tell us a little bit more about what's happening?
Absolutely. I mean, the city and our region has been working to realize the cruise opportunity for many years. And in the last couple of years, especially before the pandemic, we were able to strategically work with a lot of the known cruise companies that were already in the Great Lakes or exploring entrance into the Great Lakes, like Viking. Given our location on the far western edge of the Great Lakes, certainly in the southwest corner of Lake Michigan, we've been able to grow what we call the turnaround. So that's where all itineraries on the Great Lakes begin or end in Milwaukee. We're thrilled to realize this opportunity, knowing that a lot of these cruise passengers are spending an extra couple days at the beginning or end of their trip right here in Milwaukee.
Absolutely. So from your perspective, what's the biggest challenge we need to address here in the Milwaukee region?
I have to acknowledge what I think is something we've discussed in our community for a very long time, and we need to continue addressing comprehensive racial, ethnic, and socioeconomic desegregation. I've been really enthused about the community-wide conversations about equity and inclusion. I'm seeing progress, and we're trying to bring that home to the port too, having more conversations about ways that the transportation industry can be more equitable and inclusive, not only for our customers, but for our tenants and our staff.
Yeah, it's such an important point. And if anybody watching today wants to hear more about how the business community is responding to these challenges, you can look at the diverse talent tab on mmmac.org. So having said that, talked about that terrific challenge we're facing, what makes you optimistic about the future of Milwaukee?
I have to plead port director bias here, but it's freshwater development. You know, we often talk about The city of Milwaukee in southeastern Wisconsin as being the freshwater capital of the world. And I'm here to tell you, I think we are. And we're doing some really innovative projects here that are going to continue to change our relationship with Lake Michigan and the Milwaukee estuary, both from an ecological environmental perspective and from a commercial recreational perspective. One of the huge projects that we're working on is to delist Milwaukee's area of concern by the US EPA. With that effort, we will be removing 2 million cubic yards of contaminated sediment from Milwaukee's rivers and harbor. This is going to make our water even fresher, cleaner, and more vibrant in the decades ahead. I'm really excited about it.
Absolutely. So if someone from out of town is visiting Milwaukee, what's one thing they can't miss?
Ooh. Well, it's currently a bit snowy outside, so I'm gonna talk about summer.
Right.
If I mean,
And we
we
can
gotta
talk about
look
a
to the
post-COVID
future.
too.
I would say a walk along Lakeshore State Park and then a visit to the art museum. One of my favorite, probably my favorite museum in the entire world is the Tate Modern in London. And our Milwaukee Art Museum is right up there in terms of international renown and the quality of the exhibits that we offer. Every time I go into the art museum, I'm hoping to see more expansions in the exhibit that they have there. For me, you know, my passion in art is really with the color fields movement. So I'm always looking to see if the art museum has any new works by, you know, artists like Mark Rothko, for example. And really our art museum here in Milwaukee is absolutely world class.
Very good. So very difficult question here, just because of all the options that are available. What is your favorite local restaurant, and what should I order when I go there?
Oh, so I not only do I work in Bayview, the southern end of the port is right across from the Lake Express ferry, so just under the Hone Bridge, but I'm also a Bayview resident. So I have to say one thing that's really excited me is for those that remember, the old White House in Bayview was refurbished just before the pandemic. And it's operated by my friends Allison and Zach. And it's really, really exceptional to see how they've transformed what is a landmark restaurant in the Bayview section of our city and bring it back into really fine form. It has that sort of great mix of an old school restaurant where you have that white tablecloth and, you know, the historic woodwork that's been preserved for over 100 years. But Allison and Zach are really bringing a contemporary approach to customer service. Their menu changes. It's seasonal, if not, you know, weekly changing. But I'm always going for a good steak.
Sounds great. So what was your first job, and what lessons did you learn from that?
So no one really grows up saying, I'm going to be a port director, right? No one, you don't wake up, even if you are raised in Milwaukee, or in my case, in Oak Creek, saying, you know, I'm really passionate about the Great Lakes and now, you know, I really want to work for a port. So interestingly, my first job was at Blockbuster Video. So for the younger people listening, that was a place where you could rent videos, DVDs, and video games before streaming existed, just to clear what Blockbuster was. And one of the lessons that I learned, oh God, Blockbuster was incredibly regimented about forcing employees to tuck in their shirt. And I have to say this, it is still a problem I have at work today. So the lesson is still being learned.
There you go. But at least it's in your mind, right?
Yeah, I think about it. I try to.
Very nice. So what is the last book you read or are reading right now, and what takeaway did you get from that book?
Oh, I just finished a great book called Less, Less, by Andrew Sean Greer. And I would sort of call it a humorous version of Eat, Pray, Love. It's about a very awkward man going on an international journey of self-acceptance and self-discovery. And one of the lessons that I took away from it is growth takes time. If you're patient with yourself and patient with the experience of the journey of life, you can keep learning new things every single day. I thought the novel did a really great way of just allowing yourself, showing that it's okay to allow yourself the space to be great, but also to be a little ugly sometimes.
Yeah, very good. Love it. What show should I stream?
Oh, Bridgerton on Netflix, 100%. I mean, for me during the pandemic, watching a show that is a mix of Scandal, Gossip Girl, and Pride and Prejudice has been, dare I say it, incredibly sexy. Great show, tons of entertainment.
Very good. What is your favorite inspirational quote?
So I can't believe I'm going to share it, but it's take 10. You got to do it for the MMAC. Those might not know, my favorite word is empathy. I have a tattoo that is a symbol for the word empathy. And when I think about leading the port and leading my staff and trying to leverage Milwaukee's business community, something I always think about with empathy is not just being concerned with the human being's output, it's being concerned about the human being themselves. So when I try to lead the port through an empathetic lens, that's what I'm trying to think about. It's about output, but more importantly, it's about people.
That's terrific. I love that lesson. What's one thing people might not know about you?
Oh, I was married this year. First time married. Yeah. So I got married in July of 2020 to my husband, Aaron, who is an incredible man. And he is a registered nurse and has been treating COVID-19 patients throughout the year. But one of the fun facts about my wedding was we were profiled in the style section of the New York Times.
Wow.
So it was a once in a lifetime opportunity. The article was called Romance on the Great Lakes.
There you go. Very nice. Well, tell him thank you. The job that our healthcare providers are doing right now is absolutely incredible. And I can't imagine the stress he's been under this year, and that you've been, by sort of association, probably stressed as well.
I mean, my husband and our family and our friends and everyone at the port, I can tell you we are looking forward to bright days ahead. And there's so many people that have tirelessly fought to keep all of us safe and keep our economy and keep our livelihoods at home and in business as successful as possible during what is truly an unprecedented occurrence in contemporary history, world history. So kudos to everyone for what they're doing. From the port's perspective, I can tell you that we had a great year, and it's because of our frontline workers, our essential workers, that kept the Port of Milwaukee operating day in and day out because of pandemic conditions. So we're very, very lucky, and I look forward to seeing many more of you in person in good days ahead.
Absolutely. And thank you to your team at the port, who are obviously doing a terrific job. Thanks, Adam, for your time today. You can watch additional Take 10 episodes on MMAC's YouTube channel, our email newsletter, and our social media channels. Thanks, everybody, and have a great day.